name is Tom Brislin. I'm a keyboardist, vocalist, and songwriter, and currently a member of the band Kansas. My start in piano was probably before I knew how to read. The piano was in the house. It was a main feature of our home. My siblings played piano, and they were my first teachers. And I also started learning a lot of music by ear around the same time. So anything having to do with music, I was just always gravitating toward the piano. I find myself being a progressive rock musician, and the cool thing about that is that progressive rock takes influences from so many different styles. Anything goes, and that's what I like. Especially when it comes to writing music, I just play first, hit record, and then I ask the questions after I've already got the ball rolling.
Make the wheel turn faster.
When I first got my hands on the Grand Hybrid, it was a revelation because it's something that I've been looking for, and a lot of pianists are looking for, that idea of the feeling that when you press a key, it's throwing a real hammer. It seems like such a simple idea, and there have been many developments in technology to create a hammer-type action. The fact that this actually has hammers, and it really makes a difference. So I like the fact that I could just dig in. Obviously, I want the feel to be there, because if I am going to be finding myself in a situation where I go to record with an acoustic grand piano or performance, I want to make sure my chops are happening, and something like the Grand Hybrid is great to have. It's got the feel and it's got the resistance, but at the same time the speed and responsiveness that you need to get used to. I also think that having the stereo speakers right there is a big part of it, because I know a lot of pianists and songwriters will relate. When you sit at a piano and the sound just swims around you, it's really inspiring, and a lot of ideas start to pop up. So when I play something like the Grand Hybrid or the PXS 3000, it's nice that speakers are right there, it's ready to go, just like you walk over to a piano and start playing it, because you want as little of a barrier between your idea and starting to play it. So I like that the sound just starts to swim around you right away. Every time I get on it, I don't want to leave it.
The song the river sang, with liquid language flooding closer to the desert where we stand.
For my first tour with Kansas, I got the PXS 3000 at the beginning of the tour, and we started using it in the acoustic portion, which starts the show. The guys in the band really dug the sound, and front of house engineer liked the way it sat with the mix. And when we do our summer shows, or we play at resorts or things like that, where we do a more compact set, we don't have the acoustic portion, the PXS 3000 still comes along with us, because we have the luxury of warming up and rehearsing before every show. But this is just so easy to take along with us that I always have it, and it's really a welcome sight in the dressing room, in the rehearsal room before the show. The PXS 3000 has been one of my musical companions during the lockdown times. I managed to get a hold of one and just have it set up, and pretty much every day I can reach it, which is important, because getting there in front of the piano is the first job, you know, and then once you're there, I never stop playing. Kansas is pretty demanding, and I like that. We were slated to go on a West Coast run, and I got on the plane and I got a call from our manager the nick of time saying, it's off, we're postponing these dates. And from that point on, life has been really different. So it's just been a matter of keeping the fire burning musically, and not just shutting down the imagination as well as the tours. You know, you got to keep that going at least. We're really looking forward to the time when we can get back on the road. And in the meantime, I'm writing music and practicing and playing the piano as much as I can, because when things start back up, we want to be ready. To find more about me, people can visit my site at tombrislin.com, and you can also go to the Kansas official site at kansasband.com.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Mike Martin. Welcome to the Believe in Music Week here from the Casio booth. And joining me, if you've attended Casio's live events recently, as always, joining me 890 miles to my east, Mr. Rich Formidoni. How are you, Rich?
Hey, I'm doing good. I was about to say exactly what you guys just said. So welcome to sunny Anaheim, California by way of Illinois and Hoboken. And we're just very happy that you guys are here, and we've got some great stuff lined up for you.
And we have a very special guest. You saw him in that introduction video. He's joining us coming live from New Jersey as well. Welcome to the live stream here, Mr. Tom Brislin.
Hi, how's it going?
Welcome, Tom.
Welcome, Tom.
So great to see you, man. Thanks for joining us.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, we appreciate, so just over a week ago, you were in the studio with us, not only filming that video, but a couple other songs, which we're going to play in a little bit. But I guess, let's just bring people up to speed a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in music.
Okay, so currently I'm keyboardist and sometime vocalist and songwriter for the band Kansas. I've been with the band since the beginning of 2019. And we toured all year and also made an album called The Absence of Presence, which was released last July. Prior to that, I played with a lot of classic rock bands and progressive rock bands, including Yes, Meatloaf, Debbie Harry, Camel, Renaissance. And I also led a modern rock band called Spiraling for many years. I've been playing piano since I could remember anything. There was piano in the house, musical family, everybody loved music. Between the instruments and the record collections, it was all around for me. So I got hooked pretty early.
Fantastic. Go ahead,
Rich. I just wanted to remind everybody, we do have a chat session open. So if you've got a question for Tom, post it and we'll ask him if we like the question. Tom, you mentioned The Absence of Presence. One of the coolest things is that you recently started in the band and you're already doing so much songwriting. Can you tell us a little bit about your contributions to that album?
Yeah, when they asked me to join the band, it was a question that I had right off the bat, which was, am I invited to the songwriting party? And I said, yeah, show us what you got. So in the midst of learning this demanding Kansas show, 2.5 hours of music, I was writing songs and making demos in the times in between. And I just kept sending to them, and they were giving me the go-ahead and asking for more. So I just did the juggling act, and lo and behold, my fingerprints are all over this album. Kansas was one of the progressive rock bands that I admired when I really first got into prog rock. So I've been familiar with their music for a long time, and especially having learned their music at around the same time that I was writing this stuff, it was influencing me to express more of a Kansas vibe in what I was writing.
Well, your influence.
And you did a lot of
I was going to say your influence is so clear on this album. I mean, for someone that's familiar with your solo work, when I hear that new album, especially the track that we're going to play later, it's just like, wow, that's Tom. I mean, it's Kansas, but it's also Tom, and it's just amazing to hear.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Now it's both Kansas and Tom.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like, I can't write and not be myself, or else nothing will happen. So I just found that, I'm into so many different bags of music that I just sort of hung out in the Kansas zone for a while. But yeah, it's going to end up being me, but with this new inflection, I guess.
I know you did a lot of transcription work. What was it like transcribing the spider?
Well, I'm really thankful that we have tools that let us slow the music down now. Because honestly, when I first learned the music for Meatloaf Band, which was, I guess, one of the first, international touring groups that I played with, they don't give you sheet music. There's not a lot of guidance. It's like, here, figure it out. And that's part of the process of getting in the band. They want to see how you do with it. So I was transcribing for a long time, and for many years I did transcriptions for Keyboard Magazine. But every type of opportunity that came along, be it Yes, Camel, etc., I had to transcribe things by ear. The only one that was different was Renaissance, because I was playing the part of the orchestra, so they had some orchestral reductions for me, some. But here with Kansas, doing the Spider, which is 1,000,000 notes a minute, I just had to slow it down and listen. And I go over things with a fine-tooth comb. You know, I'll go through the process of reviewing every single note. And it's the thing about transcribing is that it's different. Like if you're looking at a painting with 1,000,000 colors in it, you can look away and then look back and the painting's still there. So you can like check out what the colors are. Whereas like when music goes by, it's a moment in time, it's gone. So you just keep reviewing, rewinding. So you're not only working your ear, but you're also working your memory, short-term memory, because what just happened? What can I just identify? So luckily I have the ability to write the stuff down. And so I did some full notation transcriptions of some of the things, and some of the other things I just sort of absorbed by ear. But the Spider was one of those intricate ones where I had to dig in and write everything out.
Well done. And thank you for doing all those transcriptions in Keyboard Magazine. I definitely benefited from a few of them.
You're welcome.
All right, so just taking a quick look at the chat. I know we got some comments coming in from both YouTube and the Believe in Music NAMM page. So great to have everybody with us. We are watching the chat. So one of the questions is about the GP510, and I guess we're going to address that. But after we play this video that you recorded for us last week on the GP510, can you tell us a little bit about this piece?
Yeah, so this is an original song I wrote back for the group Spiraling, and it originally appeared on an album called Transmitter, and it's called The Girl on Top of the Piano. And when I first wrote it, I started playing it at the very first NAMM show I went to in the year 2000 when it was held at the LA Convention Center. And it was all new to me, and I was just running around playing every keyboard I could find. And there was a piano on the main floor because things were a little discombobulated there because it wasn't in Anaheim. And I'm playing this song, and a gentleman comes up and he says, "Hey, I like that song. I like what your left hand's doing." And and I look, and it's Eddie Kramer. So I was like, all right, so maybe I'm onto something with this song. So I just went further with it, and eventually Spiraling recorded it, and we played it live for many years. But I love playing it on the piano because the middle section is kind of a wild card. It's a mystery box, and I play it differently every time. I just sort of see what happens, and it was really fun to play it on the 510.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's take a listen.
Just another dumb thing that I did just to prove it won't matter if I fail. Even still, all my pickup lines are as smooth and as fine as a bed of nails. There cannot be a chance in the world that she could make out the words and decipher what I mean. I once was over you, but now I'm back. About the girl on top of the piano. Well, I'd like to believe that she's here to see me. And the girl on top of the piano lets me sing, lets me play, but I cannot find a way for the girl on top of the piano to find the real me. Fast forward to the moment at hand where you don't know who I am and there's nothing left to say. I can't remember if I ever forgot it, to forget it, you in such a forgettable way. You don't want to be remembered like that, but as a matter of fact, she is making your fears come true. She seems so easy to please, but I just can't shake you. But what about the girl on top of the piano? Well, I like lets me sing, lets me play, but I cannot find a way. Oh, the girl on top of the piano, the girl on top of the piano, to find the real me. Will she ever know just who's behind the serenade? I once was over you, but you're back in my way. She seems so easy to please, but if I tell her there's another, will there be? I don't think she believes that you're just history. And the girl on top of the piano, well, she lets me sing, she lets me play, but I cannot ever find a way for the girl on the piano, the girl on top of the piano. To find the real me.
Welcome back to the Casio. I know we need big applause there. Let me see there. Cue that in. Thank you, Tom. What an amazing piece, and absolutely sounded fantastic on the GP510. So, thank you so much for being here with us as we broadcast live for Believe in Music Week. You're kicking off the booth for us today. It's fantastic.
Right on. The parking was really easy this time.
Rich and I were texting earlier this morning and said, well, breakfast was a little different. It was, breakfast at home, and it didn't cost $35 or,
Yeah. It's not the same if you can't expense an overly priced breakfast for the start of your NAMM show.
Well, we digress, apparently.
Yes. I was looking at some of the questions coming in. One of them I'll try and summarize here. Given all the options with technology and music, do you find it to be more helpful or not in terms of composition? How do you make peace with the universe of options and pace of changing features?
That's a great
Here's
question.
the main question. Does the process begin closer to the acoustic or from ideas inspired by following technology?
A little bit of both, but lately for me, a lot of my ideas are originating from the piano because, like I said in that other interview, I make it a point to get in front of it every day and allot some just free form time. And I hit the red button to record. I've been going through tons of ideas now, and most of them are from the piano. Sometimes the ideas happen at inconvenient times, and I'll just blabber something into the message so future me knows what past me was talking about. and I'll get to it then. But there are also times when sounds can be an inspiration. If you're playing a certain synth and ooh, that's a pretty cool tone, and all of a sudden all these different chords start coming out. So everything has an effect. Lately, I've been starting the process at the piano.
That's great. So
Very cool.
You have a PXS 3000 there. Do you find yourself, I mean, you're using the recording features or recording directly to a WAV file to capture that moment of inspiration, or are you hooked up to a computer? What's your process there?
I have it linked to my DAW, so I'm using Logic Pro, and so I'll have everything in there, and that also gives me opportunities to use it as a controller. Like if I do want to use one of my software synthesizers or sound libraries, I've got that going right away.
Fantastic.
Yeah. We have somebody who just bought a PXS 3000 and is actually asking, do you have any tips or tricks for first things to do or any interesting discoveries you've made?
Well, it actually took me a while to figure out the whole reverb thing, the reverb configuration. So there's that sound mode button. Play around with that and see what happens.
Yeah, that's a question from, that looks like Jamie was asking that question. And tomorrow, Jamie, we will be doing a live Privia demo, and I have got one set up here. I'll have all of that ready to go, so we can take direct questions about the instruments then as well. So please join us for that. But yeah, the sound mode is amazing. That's where you get to the hall simulator, and some of the other effects are hidden there if you press and hold that button there. So very cool. Great. Keep the questions coming, everybody. So, I mean, speaking of the 3000, you also recorded one of the Kansas songs on the PXS 3000 that we have in a video we're going to play in a minute. Tell us a little bit about that song.
Okay, this is the song that concludes the album, The Absence of Presence, and it is titled The Song the River Sang. This was unique on the album in that all the music and lyrics came from me. There were other tunes where, actually there's two. That and Memories Down the Line were the two. And I actually, this is actually a secret medley. There's going to be a little bit of Memories Down the Line at the end of this. So those are the two pieces of music that that I brought with words. There was another one called Propulsion One, which is instrumental. And then I wrote words to some of the songs that the other band members wrote. The song The River Sang is a really fun one because most of it's in 7/8 time, which is just, you're free to do that all day in prog rock. You know, that was really fun. And we had a lot of fun recording it. In fact, there were times when we were all in the studio and everybody in the band went to the recording room and started just talking and conversation and saying oddball things, and they recorded our conversation. So there's actually like all these like subliminal sound effects and murmurings and stuff at certain parts of the recording. I didn't include them here in the solo piano version. I just got down to business. So hope you like it.
All right, well, let's take a listen to it, and we'll talk more about it when we get back. Here we go.
In this chapter, your actions make the wheel turn faster. There's something deeper in those grains of sand that slip between your fingers. The song the river sang, with liquid language flooding closer to the desert where we stand. Launch a final flare to catch the eye of those who care. meant to say that nothing that you do would ever matter. A chain reaction has begun, and it will run forever. The song the river sang, with liquid language flooding closer to the desert where we stand. I launch a final flare to catch the eye of those who care.
And we're back. What an absolutely amazing performance, Tom. Thank you so much for sharing this with us here at NAMM 2021. Amazing.
Bravo. That was
that absolutely is by far my favorite track on the album. And I think, again, because I can hear your influence directly in that song. So again, thanks for doing that version for us. It's really special.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
So tell us a little bit more about how you're using the PXS 3000 with Kansas. You mentioned it briefly in the interview. Just give us a little bit more detail.
We had, for our longer shows, as we call them, they're called the Point of No Return anniversary shows. The concerts begin with a pseudo acoustic mini set of songs. So we kind of ease into the show, and that's where the PXS 3000 was. And so first thing is just acoustic guitars, bass, and piano, and vocals, and violin, of course, because it's Kansas. So that's how we start the show. Eventually, when we kick it into full gear, I go up to a keyboard rig, which has different keyboards in there. But when we do a shorter show, that's not the Point of No Return anniversary show, and we just hit it, we don't have that acoustic portion of the set, but we still keep the 3000 with us. I bring it around because we rehearse in the dressing rooms beforehand, which is an amazing luxury, especially for keyboard players. Oh, the guitarists are always getting to warm up, drummers get the practice pad, and we're sitting there trying to warm our hands. And here's an actual, weighted keyboard, 88 key piano to play on and get limber and get going and get ready for the show.
A mutual friend of all of ours does exactly the same thing when he tours with Dream Theater. Jordan takes his Privia, goes everywhere. It's backstage, and that's his practice warm-up tool, among many other things. So you're not alone in that regard. So what's been the reaction from the band to the sound of the piano?
They like it. I mean, first thing was they gave me thumbs up all around as soon as I set it up, and we started the show, and they checked it out at the front of house as well. And the front of house engineer said, "Yeah, this is easy. I can fit this in the mix really easily." And they liked the way that it sounded, so we went with it.
Perfect. That's fantastic.
That's great. Do you find yourself using batteries when you're warming up, taking it to random places, or do you usually find a spot to plug it in?
No, we have power, because remember we actually rehearse as a group. We run through some of the songs, so we have to have the practice
cool.
amps and stuff too. Yeah, so fortunately, I've got it covered.
That's good.
It's not that kind of pandemic yet, Rich. It's just
Man. Crank generator power. No.
So have you had
Yep.
time, Tom, in the last 8 months or so to work on your own music?
Yes. And I have been working on a lot of new original ideas. They're still in their formative stages. But that's like what I said earlier in the other interview, was that I just like to be free and record whatever I'm thinking. And sometimes that's 20 seconds of music. Sometimes it's 20 minutes of music. And right now I'm actually cracking it all open and seeing what I got. So this is the next step. But yeah, I realized that I was doing it every day. So I've got quite a lot to sort through.
Well, that's awesome. Making the most of it. That's great.
Yeah, a lot of musicians find that hardship sort of breeds creativity. So have you found that any of the isolation has changed the way you approach songwriting?
Strangely, I look at the year 2019, and I was incredibly busy with all the Kansas responsibilities and the fact that I had to get these songs in by a certain time because the album recording dates were already set. So in a way, that pressure got me moving. This is a different type of thing because it's so open and so vast that you have to wake up every day and say, all right, this is what I'm going to do with this time.
Right.
So that presents in some ways more of a challenge, because in 2019, I knew exactly what I needed to do on any given day. Whereas here, it's like there are so many options. Like the person asked earlier about the plethora of options. And I like to keep it a little more simple at first, and then get into all the toys. I mean, I collect all the keyboards and everything, and I have the gear acquisition syndrome like most musicians. But
Yep.
Having the freedom gives you challenges, especially with the world being in such a strange state. You have to kind of keep your creative mind protected in a way, but also active.
It's good advice.
Excellent advice. And I think with that, we're going to wrap things up for today, Tom. But before we go, where can people find out more about you and what you're up to?
The best is my website, which is tombrislin.com. Look at that. That at Tom Brislin is my Instagram as well as Twitter. And on Facebook, it's at Tom Brislin Music. That's my music page there. So all the socials I'm on, and also kansasband.com has the band's official news.
Well, again, thank you, Tom, for joining us today and debuting those two incredible pieces, both the Celviano Grand Hybrid as well as the PXS 3000. We greatly appreciate it.
Well, thanks. It's my pleasure to be here. This is an unusual NAMM, but it's good to connect with you guys like I do every year. And for all those people out there, stay safe, and we hope to see you soon.
All right.
And thank you to everybody who joined us watching today. We're glad you enjoyed it.
All right. So join us in about 20 minutes. Rich and I will be doing a demonstration on the Casio CD-PS series that came out this year, and more sessions coming up throughout the week. So thanks for now. I'm Mike Martin.
I'm Rich Formidoni.
Tom, thank you. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Thanks again, Tom.